I think we can now go over to Don Pedro Obaseki to take us through what has come to be.
Good morning, my friends, colleagues. I will be as dedicated to the script as possible, but this is formal, but you are my colleagues. Nigerian Union dispute emanating from grave constitutional grievances. A milestone report on the implementation of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure and direction for the future. This is a test of the statement at this board press conference, August 17, 2021, by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, at the expiration of the 120-day period of consultations, which commenced on April 17, 2021. The theme of this milestone report is taking back our sovereignty, a declaration of victory over the fraud of 1999. So, gentlemen of the press, as we come to the close of the 120-day period of consultations, which commenced on the 17th day of April 2021, in the measured implementation of the constitutional force majeure, we invited you here today to update our people and the global community on the tremendous progress that has been made in giving effect to the will of the peoples of Nigeria, which had for so long been suppressed by the forces of oppression and retrogression. Recall that following the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure proclamation, a sovereignty dispute was declared by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, on the grounds of grave constitutional grievances, and a 5-point demand was made on the federal government of Nigeria with a 90-day period of notice for the commencement of irreversible steps towards the remediation of the said grievances. The full text of the proclamation was published as an advertorial in the January 2021 edition of the Guardian newspapers. You can find that on pages 38, 39, 40, and 41. For the ease of reference, it is good that we recall that the 5 points of demand in the December 16, 2020 proclamation are: 1, a formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria acknowledging the constitutional grievances and sovereignty dispute which was declared by the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria. A formal commitment by the federal government of Nigeria to the wholesale decommissioning and jettisoning of the 1999 Constitution as the basis of the Federation of Nigeria, as was done by the government of the apartheid-era Union of South Africa in 1990. And that commenced the process by which the apartheid constitution of the then South Africa was eased out. So this is not something new. It is not a novelty. A formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria suspending further general elections under the disputed 1999 Constitution, since the winners of such elections will swear to and governed by that Constitution. So by that declaration of December 2020, that Constitution ceases to exist, and you cannot swear people in on the basis of 0. That must be clear. Any election going forward is null, void, ultra-vires, and of no consequence or constitutional backing whatsoever, howsoever, because the Constitution is dead. 3, a formal invitation to the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria, we shall work out and replace and emplace a transitional authority, and we shall specify the modalities for the transitioning process, including the composition and mandate of the transitional authority, as well as the time frame for the transitioning and other auxiliary matters. 5, a formal initiation of a time-bound transitioning process to midwife the emergence of fresh constitutional protocols by a 2-stage process in which the constituent regional blocks will, at the first stage, distill and ratify their various constitutions by referendums and plebiscites. And then in the second stage, negotiate the terms of federating afresh as may be dictated by the outcomes of the referendum and plebiscites. Key. Recall that also that at the expiration of the 90-day period, NINAS addressed a world press conference in Ibadan on March 17, 2020, at which it announced a 30-day period of consultations with governors and other elected officials of NINAS Alliance territory, and which expired on April the 16th, 2021. Also recall that on the 17th day of April 2021, NINAS announced the commencement of another period of 120 days of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria, as well as the critical stakeholders segment of the international community, which period came to a close on August the 16th, 2021. We are glad to report to you, our people, and the international community today, the 17th day of August 2021, the spectacular success of the joint multi-regional constitutional force majority in its main objective of defeating and peacefully easing out the imposed toxic and fraudulent 1999 constitution upon which the distressed Federation of Nigeria is presently constructed. This victory over the fraud of 1999 is the first major step towards the recovery and reinstatement of the sovereignty of the constituent components of the defunct Federation of Nigeria, trapped in the unitary union of death that Nigeria has become for all that defeated the 1999 unitary constitution. In order to understand the victory we have just declared over that toxic 1999 constitution, and for the benefit of those who may not have followed the developments in the Nigerian politics since December 16, 2020, activation of the constitutional force majority, it is significant to note that, 1, in the 90-day period of notice to federal government of Nigeria, the attempt to resort to the backdoor route of constitutional amendments as a response to the sovereignty dispute raised by NINAS was rejected countrywide, as NINAS and other major stakeholders, including some governors, insisted that the 1999 constitution was a total fraud that could not be cured by amendments, and more importantly, that the legislative mandate of the National Assembly is lawmaking and does not extend to constitution making. It is not a constitution drafting assembly. That botched attempt is by itself an acknowledgement of the incurable foundational flaw of the 1999 Constitution. In the 30-day period of consultations for governors and other elected officials in the Alliance territory, the governors of the southern states of Nigeria, in an unprecedented move, never before has it ever happened in the history of this country, met in Asaba to declare that open grazing will be banned in all states of southern Nigeria. This decision, if effectively, brought the governors to the side of the propositions of NINA's constitutional force majority, as that decision in the Asaba declaration cannot be effectively carried out without first decommissioning the 1999 Constitution and its federal exclusive legislative list, which currently prohibit the states from issuing firearms to enforce such a ban. In the 120-day period of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria and the international community, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria from all parts of the South and the Middle Belt in embrace of the NINAS grant propositions, marched out to the streets in their homelands and in capital cities of the world, including Washington, D.C., New York, and London, to loudly assert their right to self-determination and their rejection of the unitary union of death Nigeria has become for their people under the fraudulent 1999 Constitution. In particular, the Yoruba took their self-determination campaign to the United Nations, leading the rest of the NINAS alliance to the point that the CNN reported this growing push for exit from the failed Lugadian experiment of 1914 by the Yoruba, joining the long-standing exit campaign from the Eastern Flank, framed by its proponents as the Biafra agitation. On the international circuit, between April the 28th, 2021 and April the 30th, 2021, key global powers, including the United States, the European Union, and the United Kingdom, acted in concert to point Nigeria to the key prescriptions of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majority, and asking that the rulers of Nigeria to put guns aside and initiate a dialogue of the peoples of Nigeria to distill a fresh legal instrument, albeit a constitution. We recall that the United Nations, through its special rapporteur on Nigeria, had in September of 2021 declared the current 2019, had in September of 2019 declared the current constitutional arrangements of Nigeria as a pressure cooker for injustice, and that Nigeria, under the current 1999 Constitution, is now a danger to global peace security, as Nigeria can snap and cause an unprecedented global refugee crisis in which Nigeria's 200 million citizens will be seeking escape from death at a time the global terror networks include ISIS and Al-Qaeda are already converging in Nigeria. Now, inside this 120-day period, a global caveat by NINAS on the reckless foreign loans by the current federal government of Nigeria saw China canceling a loan of $1 billion United States dollars on Nigeria for the construction of a gas pipeline, while the United States canceled an order for attack helicopters on Nigeria, and the United States Congress followed up with the ban of sale of weapons to Nigeria, following request for such a ban by NINAS under US concerns about gross human rights abuse by the regime in Nigeria. It is significant to note that in what seems like a sudden realization and a dawning reality on the Caliphate North, the coalition of northern groups which had since the 2017 Igbo quit notice from the North gained notoriety for its belligerence, suddenly realigned its position to the NINAS propositions and prescriptions regarding the Nigerian question as encapsulated by the NINAS proclamation of December 16, 2020, accepting A, that the Nigerian Union has collapsed. B, that we do not have a constitution at the moment, since the imposed 1999 Constitution has been repudiated and has been rejected countrywide. C, that the National Assembly cannot, by amendments, cure the fraud called the 1999 Constitution, and so must stop its present pretense that all is well with the Nigerian Union. That the National Assembly must halt the current constitutional amendment exercise and genuinely join the search for solutions to the dying Nigerian Union. D, that a grand meeting of the constituent component nationalities has become inevitable, and that the constituent components of Nigeria must at such a meeting first agree to form a union. That is, they must agree to federate before undertaking the task of settling the terms of that union. These somber and profound postulations were made in a recent BBC interview by the spokesperson of the CNG, or the Coalition of Northern Groups, Abdulaziz Suleiman. The link is available on the sheet for you. So, bearing the urgency of the ultra-conservative lot, it could be said that the postulations of the coalitions of Northern Groups clearly indicate that a countrywide consensus regarding the viable options for the dismantling and grand reconfiguration of the current unworkable unitary union of Nigeria has thus emerged. Happily, the comprehensive framework for undertaking the well-articulated prescriptions of the Coalition of Northern Groups in the aforementioned BBC interview are contained in the December 16, 2020 Constitutional Force Majority Proclamation. The defeat and impending demise of the 1999 Constitution sets the basis for the liberation of all who were trapped in the bondage called Nigeria. It is no longer a matter for debate that the 1999 Constitution is a fraud and a forgery that is directly responsible for practically all the miseries tormenting Nigerians, including the killings, mass poverty, gross insecurity, and general hopelessness, now leading to the demise of the Nigerian Union itself. It does not matter, therefore, which political party or which individual wins power. That Constitution guarantees the evils we lament day in, day out. It is no longer a matter for debate that the peoples of Nigeria have repudiated and rejected the 1999 Constitution, and that the main people clinging tenaciously to that Constitution are the caliphate elements and their surrogates who have imposed it, and for whom the rogue document is a title deed. The Constitution is a title deed by which they hold almost exclusively this vast piece of estate called Nigeria. While the only other people clinging to that 1999 Constitution of debt are the political jobbers and merchants whose humongous benefits flow from the evil Constitution, even as mass poverty grind the rest of the populace they pretend to lead. The press, it is your duty to make Nigerians understand that they are being trampled upon by a paper they did not write. When you collect little and let your people suffer, and you believe in God, let me not get emotional, but to seize us out of this lacuna, we must be emotional. This is not a play issue. I'm sorry, my guys. It is no longer a matter for debate that, God bless you, that elections are the mechanism by which the life of the 1999 Constitution is renewed every 4 years. You are like, they are dying, they die. We're carrying election like if it is oxygen, pump them again, and their begins to continues to live when we know ab initio it was born dead. It follows, therefore, that those who are tormented by that Constitution like me, but who nonetheless are set to go to another round of national elections under that Constitution like them, are the ones renewing and reinforcing their own damnation, bondage, and enslavement. It is now, therefore, a matter of choice whether we want to renew the source of our miseries once again in the 2023, or we want to free ourselves by rejecting now, in 2021, the invitation to join in the preparation for another round of national elections in 2023. These circles of renewal must be broken if we must be free. The Yoruba say, a stone that one sees does not blind one. The key to breaking the cycle of renewal of the life of the 1999 Constitution lies in knowing that only political parties contest elections, and all political parties in Nigeria ascribe to that evil 99 Constitution. And so, whichever party wins any election, that winner will swear to uphold and defend the 1999 Constitution. It follows that political parties are solely responsible for leading the rest of us to the self-damnation of renewing the life of that 1999 Constitution every 4 years. The political parties have in this regard become the Judas.
Judas goat.
Iscariot. Judas goat that routinely lead us all to the slaughter. The key to taking down the 1999 Constitution is immediately halting the political parties from dragging us to another round of national elections in 2023. This is not a call to boycott the 2023 elections, but a call to halt the preparation for 2023 inside 2021. You will only boycott when it happens. We are saying don't even prepare to let it happen. Political parties must now way to close shop forthwith. Remember, Bola, those 5 parties there, he said they are the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. All political parties now, say they are more than 5, it's like they are like octopuses with hydra heads. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution by the joint multi-regional actions of the NINAS alliance, the Sharia Caliphate that imposed and holds tightly to that Constitution, as its title did, to own and to control Nigeria, is now confronted by the sudden demise of that their title did. The 1999 Constitution is dead, and is now on a desperate mission to reconquer the rest of Nigeria in order to reestablish ownership and control by conquest outside that defeated title deed. However, to be able to drive through its all-important conquest mission, the Caliphate needs more time in the saddle of Nigeria's political leadership and within the authoritarian powers conferred upon them by the all-powerful 1999 Constitution. So the only way the Caliphate can get that critically required time in power, that is time in the power saddle, is if the Caliphate can drag all of us to the voyage of another round of national elections in 2023 and give them another 4 years of fecundating and soaking this, our loaf, this bread, until we burst. On the other hand, if we halt the voyage to 2023 inside 2021, the 1999 Constitution will lose its life inside 2021. And we will immediately get into transitioning and therefore on the way to regional referendums for self-determination. Let the Yoruba nation decide where they want to be, who they want to be, who they want to be with. Let the Igbo nation decide who they want to be, where they want to be, and who they want to cohort with. Let the Ijaw do the same. Let Benin do the same. Let Urobo do the same. We know where we are. We are in a marriage because we want to. Not the arranged first marriage that was done without any of us by a man who we know is in hell, and his name is Lord Frederick Luca. He's not a Lord. Sorry. This is the safe route to freedom for all constituent blocks that are fed up with the toxic Nigerian youth. Amidst the massive enlightenment campaign going on amongst peoples of the Alliance territory globally, concerning the correlation between the 1999 Constitution, our collective miseries, elections, and political parties, more of our people now know that that going to general elections in 2023 under the 1999 Constitution will spell unmitigated disaster, while halting the preparations by political parties for 2023 is guarantee for their freedom, for their escape to freedom. Accordingly, the choice is entirely in our hands. On the side of government, let it be known that it is the specter of 2023 elections that distorts and inhibits most of what would have been appropriate and common sense solutions to the multitudes of seemingly intractable problems of Nigeria. So it be sounded loud and clear that the immediate suspension of preparations towards the general elections in 2023 is the most urgently required first aid to Nigeria that is currently bleeding profusely from all sides. The risk of catastrophic implosion of Nigeria becomes exponentially increased. So NINAS call to action. NINAS has a 5-point call to action. Knowledge is power. The first task before us all in the period of commencing, that is commencing today, August 17, the year of our Lord 2021, is to help spread this information as well as other related information on the constitutional force majority amongst the peoples of the NINAS Alliance territory, wherever they are on the face of planet Earth. NINAS directs the regional blocks to advance the processing and ratification of their regional constitutions and charters in readiness for the United Nations-backed regional self-determination stay or leave referendum from the distressed Federation of Nigeria. Apostle that is saying, NINAS requests you to help intensify the signing of the ongoing NINAS referendum petition, by which NINAS December 16, 2023 constitutional force majority proclamation is addressed to the United Nations Security Council, and also support and, where possible, partake in the march at the 76th United Nations General Assembly in September 2021. In this same period commencing August 17, 2021, led the campaign to persuade the political parties to close shop forthwith for the reasons outlined therein before be intensified. All the reasons we've outlined previously in this document, it should be intensified. This will bring us to Domino 2 and the transitioning threshold, precipitating the referendums for sake. When these actions take place, it will have a domino effect that will bring us to the transitioning threshold, which is referendum, referendum, referendum. Let the Yoruba people decide who or who, where, why they want to be, who, where, why, who. Let the Edo people do same. Let the Igbo people do same. Let the Ijaw people do same. Let the Akwa people. Let every Nigerian decide whether to continue in this toxic, abiku, bond-dead relationship or revive something new. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution and in the spirit of the transitioning prescribed in the December 16, 2020 NINAS Constitutional Force Majority Proclamation, all governments in the Alliance territories are invited to brace up, take charge, and assume responsibility for the safety and economic welfare of their people, making appropriate legislations and regulations to step into roles previously denied them or prohibited by the fraudulent and now disputed 1999 Constitution, especially via the 68-item federal exclusive legislative list in that 1999 Constitution, pending when formal transitional mechanisms are worked out. Power belongs to the people. Thank you for your attention. I've read this on behalf of Professor Banji Akitoye, the sitting chairman of Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. My name is Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. I'm the president of the Midwest Movement of Nigeria. And I'm your colleague, so you have to be fair with me. I'm the past MD of that communication.
La 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 la.